All right, so this is going to be an advanced thinking tutorial. First of all, about me. I suffer psychosis at times. And what that means is that my thoughts can become thoughts can be delusional. So to battle the psychosis, I take olanzapine and Invega Sustenna. Invega injection. Without these medications, my thinking goes from one thought pattern to another thought pattern while feeling really spaced. So I feel spaced out. Disordered thinking. So you can imagine with the mental illness problems that I have, to blend that together with hell visions and hell voices in my mind, it becomes too much to deal with, right? So I use these medications to stabilize. So it's very important that I do that, because if I don't do that, then I'm wandering around, and there's times when my brain goes blank. There's times where my thinking jumps from one line to the next. All sorts of problems like that. But let's get into sort of the advanced thinking line. So I think I'm in a trap. I think I'm in a trap. This is a very terrible thinking line. Who does that? Most likely white. So white thinks, I think I'm in a trap. And then red goes, it's a hell trap. It's a hell trap. Red. Statement. You go to hell forever. Go to hell forever. And that would be purple. So you can see this terrible thinking line that is being taken and created by the different controllers. And to break out of it, you have to see certain things, like you think you, this is a question, you think the whole universe is just for you. Question. Now, who does that? Green. So you think the whole universe is just for you. Seems to be a lot more complicated. It seems to be too complicated. For just a trap. Okay. So now yellow says that. Okay, now here's an issue, a very big issue. You ask black in the middle of this thinking line we just described, you ask black, are you God? And what he'll do is something very awful, but it's part of keeping you inside this trap thinking. So you ask black, are you God? Question mark. Black screams out in your mind, I'm not God. Right? But then black will take your thinking to say, that's a test. That's a test. Yes, I'm God. It's a very, very difficult thing to go through. In the middle of all this, you question the Lord, and of course his first response is a test. Yes, I'm God. Black. It's just how the machine runs. But as you can see, these are all questions and statements. These are all questions and statements, and they form your thinking. And I did two things at once. I explained the statement and questions to you, but I also explained to you how to get out of thinking it's a trap. Right? So the ultimate way here, look around the world. 8 billion plus souls, and you know they are there. And it's highly complicated. And watching, here's the key, and watching too much torture is boring. Hell is much more interesting than you could ever believe. So there's all sorts of controllers who threw their stuff in there, but this is the key. Right here explains to you how you get out of the thinking trap, right? Look around you, the world, 8 billion plus souls, and you know they are there, and it's highly complicated, and watching too much torture is boring, and is boring. Hell is much more interesting than you could ever believe. That's the idea, right? Because you think about the controllers, do they want to watch endless torture for all time? No, they're not interested in that. They want to see all sorts of epic adventure, and they want to see all sorts of things happen, right? That's who they are. So throughout this whole thing, there have been statements, questions, tied to feeling and emotion. Statements, questions tied to feeling and emotion, right? So now you get it. And you see how the different controllers own a thought, and then they place their words in it to try and do something, but they can replace the last few words and change the thinking line to morph you out of what you were thinking, so they can do all that stuff.